In this lesson, we are going to create the folders and files we need for this project. Recall I said earlier that we're going to use the 7-in-1 CSS architecture, though we're not going to need the entire 7 folders that pattern prescribes. All right. And again, when you look at the index.html file now, I have deleted everything we had during the practice section, so we could start on a clean slate. And for those who probably jump straight to this section so that you could see me create everything from the scratch. With that said, let's create the folders. Now, so I would rather do that in the terminal so that I could do that fast and quick. Here in the terminal, I will create a folder, a parent folder that will contain the 5 folders I need of the 7-in-1 pattern, and I will call it SAS. So mkdir, I'm sure you know that. I'll make that folder and call it SAS. That folder is created. Let me move into that folder, cd SAS, and let me create the 5 folders I need in one first swoop. So mkdir, the first one is abstract, and I will need base. I will also need component. I need layout, and finally pages. There you go. Those 5 folders are created, and if we check in here now, we should find them there. Yeah, they're there. So in each of them, I need a couple of files. In abstract, I need mixin. Now, there is a way these files are named. They are named with an underscore beginning them, and we call them partial. Though the underscore doesn't do anything, doesn't add any functionality, you could go ahead and name them without underscore and you'll be good. So mixin dot xcss, like that. And I also need variables dot scss underscore, shouldn't forget that. So those are the 2 I need for the abstract. In base, I need about 2 files also. I need a file named after the folder itself, base.scss, and I need an utility. And as a matter of fact, this is the file that forms the cornerstone of this course actually. So utilities, then in the component, let me leave the component now, then layout, since that sample project has footer, again this underscore, footer.scss. And there's also a navigation in that sample project, which I call nav. So again, nav.scss. And finally, in the pages folder, our site has a single page, index.html, but I will call it home.scss, like so. So those are the 5 folders that I will need. Now there's one file left, and that's the one in the 7-in-1 pattern. That's where all the files in these 5 folders will be imported. So let's create that one file, and I will call it main.scss. Next, I'm going to create the corresponding CSS file where the CSS equivalent of the codes in the SAS files will be generated. So again, I will do that in the asset folder. Right now I have the images in my assets folder, so I will create another directory there called CSS, and inside that directory I'm going to create a file which I will call style.css. Now this is the way I like to structure things out when I'm doing this kind of project. In my asset, I usually have things like images, images, CSS, and if I need JavaScript for this project, I will also have a folder called JS where I will have my JavaScript file. All right, so this is a personal opinion, or this is a personal preference for structuring my files. So with that out of the way, the next thing to do is to go to the package.json and configure the script to compile our source code. This is what I have here right now, and this is what we use during the practice section. If you do not understand how we arrive at this, you may have to go to the particular video under section, I guess, 3 in SAS to see how we set this up. So I'm just going to update things here. Right now, my folder, my SAS folder is called SAS, not longer styles. And there I have the main, of course, that's a single main file. And the output right now is in assets, and inside the asset, CSS, and finally styles.css. With that out of the way, the next thing I'm going to do is to import all the SAS file in my main.scss. So let's go to the main.scss. So here to import, you simply use the @import directive. And what am I importing? I'm importing from abstract, mixin, variables, base, utilities. Right now component, but nothing is there. Let me put it here. But I'm going to comment it out so I don't get into trouble with SAS. In my layout, footer, nav, and if you note, you see that when we import, the underscore doesn't come along with it. And finally, pages, home, like so. So let's close that. Now, it's time we test if all these configurations are working. And to do that, let me go to the index.html file. Let me put something in there, each one. Say, hello world. Let me give it a save. Then go to one of the SAS files. Maybe abstract. Let me create a variable, color red, and set it to red. And so, and I say h1 color red. Give it a save. Let's check our browser whether we have this h1 have a color of red applied to it. Well, but the red does not get applied. So let's check. Wait a minute. I've not compiled my SAS code, so let me quickly do that. And this time I'll have to go back, cd to start. So now I can now say npm run SAS. If I do this and there's no error, then it means our configuration is working. Okay, it does appear as if it's working, but let's confirm that. Wait a minute, it's still not red. Let's check what's going on there. Oh, I see. I've actually not linked into index.html. So I can say link and the style sheet and href there. Href, where do we have it? We have it in the asset, CSS, and style.css. Close that, give it a save. Let's check again, and there you go. Now it works. We have the h1 red in color, so that means our configuration is working. And by this, we have successfully set up our files and folders and have configured the script to compile our SAS code. In the next lesson, we'll see how we can create the responsive layout for this project.